Hey everybody, this is a clip from the latest episode of the Randi Rhodes Show. If you want the full episode, you can watch live on Free Speech TV, Dish Channel 9450.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
We do place ourselves in a time of urgency on the threat to the Constitution.
Any effort by the Secretary, by the President, or anyone else to interfere will be considered as evidence of obstruction.
We see the actions of this president being an assault on the Constitution. We had no choice but to go forward.
We're not fooling around here.
No, they're not fooling around here. And they everything that the whistleblower did was on the advice of the Intelligence Committee staff. Apparently, the whistleblower had gone to the Intelligence Committee and asked, what does he do? What do? I have all kinds of information that I have received from multiple U.S. government officials that the President of the United States is using the power of his office to solicit interference from a foreign country in the 2020 U.S. elections. This interference includes, among other things, pressuring a foreign country to investigate one of the president's main domestic political rivals. The president's personal lawyer, Mr. Rudy Giuliani, is a central figure in this effort. Attorney General Barr appears to be involved as well. Now, I can continue because this whistleblower complaint is 7 pages long. I suggest you read it and then listen to what Rudy Giuliani is telling you he's doing during the Manafort trial. Listen to what he's doing. He's going and getting introduced by Paul Manafort's attorneys to the dirtiest Ukrainians possible and suborning perjury, getting those dirty Ukrainians to lie about Hillary Clinton is really the one behind the interference in the 2016 election. So now, yesterday, the State Department's Inspector General gives to Congress the documents that include the materials that Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, had given to the State Department, had given to Mike Pompeo, that has all of these unproven claims about Joe Biden and his son. They are documents that CNN has now had a chance to go over, and they include claims against the Bidens that formed the basis of this ridiculous July 25th phone call the day after Mueller testifies, when Donald Trump realizes that Mueller didn't do a bang-up job in his testimony. He didn't convince any Americans of anything one way or another because he was halting and old and asking to be pointed to the section of the report. And it wasn't, it wasn't a blockbuster. Everybody knows that. The report was, but the testimony wasn't. And the very next day, he calls Ukraine to shake them down, too. And he accuses them the day after the Mueller testimony. He accuses them of having a dirty ambassador, the U.S. ambassador. She's got to, see the ambassador that we had. You're going to hear a lot about Marie Yovanovich. It's fun to say her name. Let's say it. Marie Yovanovich. Yovanovich. Everybody, clink glasses. Dos Vidania Yovanovich. It's a nice name. She was recalled, and that is who Trump is criticizing in the call, and we're about to get her testimony, okay? Why? Because she knows that the Black Ledger is real. That's why. And she knows that this conspiracy theory is fake. The packet that Rudy Giuliani gave to Pompeo, who then gave it to the council, who then gave it to the State Department Inspector General, the packet has internal State Department emails from State Department officials who are discussing fake articles about Yovanovich. And they're saying, this is fake. These are fake narratives. They're not real. There's no evidence of her doing anything except forwarding the interests of the United States of America. There is no evidence of wrongdoing by Joe or Hunter Biden. And this China thing, I got to tell you, this China thing is, first of all, if you just do a cursory look at this at this group that Hunter Biden was part of, you will find that he made very little money off of it. He wasn't an investor. He was an advisor to investors in the fund. Does that explain it? I think I can explain it in a sentence. Hunter Biden was not an investor in this fund. He was advising people who wanted to invest in this fund. That's number one. Number two, the fund never took in $1.5 million. The fund actually took in, let's say, $4.2 million. This is according to the fact checker at the Washington Post, okay? So this $1.5 billion that he's ranting about did not exist to begin with in any fund that Hunter Biden advised people on whether or not they should invest in it. The fund took in $4.2 million, and Hunter Biden's job was to advise investors in that fund. So there's that. And you have to understand that now we're living in up is down, black is white. We're through the looking glass. Russia obviously interfered in our election. We know that because all these Russians in absentia, obviously, were indicted because we don't have extradition with Russia. So, but the Mueller indictment of the Russian entities and persons who did interfere in the election, who did do the hacking, who did disseminate material to WikiLeaks, who then took the hacked and stolen material and gave it to Donald Trump, who was watching the releases and encouraging the releases. And Russia, if you're listening, right? It's now Ukraine that did it. This is insane. And it's all because Rudy Giuliani is talking to dirty Ukrainians as introduced by Paul Manafort to him during the Mueller probe. It's very sick, but the president of the United States is a very bad person. He's a very bad, I don't even want to call him a man because that's an insult to men. He's just a very bad person. He's a terrible, horrible, selfish, self-centered person who has no regard for people or democracy or anything other than money. It's what drives him. It's what motivates him. I mean, this thing about, hey, let's look at China. China, if you're listening, you should investigate Hunter Biden, who didn't make anything off of this fund, which only raised $4.2 million. Now, all of a sudden, it's $1.5 billion. I mean, these lies are exponentially greater as the days go by. But hey, let's not look at Ivanka. Oh, no. Ivanka was granted Chinese trademarks the day before and after Donald Trump said he would save jobs at ZTE, a major Chinese telecom, in 2018. She was also granted Chinese trademarks in 2017 on the same day she sat next to Chinese Communist president. I hate to even call him president. He's the head of the Politburo or whatever. President Xi. But of course, let's focus on Biden, not his own daughter. Let's focus on Hunter Biden, okay? This is bizarro world. Yes, Hunter Biden, probably shouldn't have done foreign business while his father was vice president at all. And I'm not sure that Joe Biden can survive this. I don't know if he can or if he can't. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But I will tell you that this is garbage. It's garbage in, garbage out. And so this is all being done to bamboozle the Cult 45 people who have a very clear case of a phone call where President Donald Trump is asking for the Ukrainians to insert themselves into our 2020 election. That's it, and if you could say it in a sentence, guess what? Cult 45 understands it. We'll see what happens.